about being a skeptic, and I just nodded and said, show me how you do this, and this, and this, and this. So it was a learning experience for me. So that kind of brings us up to where I'm at today. Guerrilla skepticism, okay? Now, I'm going to make a differentiation because I think that's important. I don't know how many people know about Phil Plate's speech that he made about being a dick, okay? It was at TAM 8. He talked about, we need to be nice to people. We want to get the word of skepticism through. Don't be a dick, be nice. Talk to people in a kind and gentle manner. You'll get much more done with sweetness instead of being sour. And I will say that there is something to that. Okay, if you have a relative or you have a person who you may not agree with their point of view, yeah, I think you have to be if not gentle, you have to be understanding and tolerant. However, there's a whole branch of what's going on in the world that I take exception to that. I'll be the biggest dick I can be with people like Sylvia Browne, John Edward, James Van Praagh, people who are predatory and know what they're doing is wrong, okay? And the list grows every day. For every one skeptic, there's probably 10 phony mediums that are just starting today. They're just putting their sign out on the front of their building, spiritual advisor, okay? So yes, we are swamped. We are in what I like to refer to as the golden age of the con, okay? If you look at the history of spiritualism, a lot of people say, oh yes, when the Victorian era ended and people did seances and all of that, that was the golden age of spiritualism. But look around right now, folks. It's huge. I mean, we're in an era now where, we've got the bank frauds. I mean, I don't even need to tell you. We are in the golden age of the con. And that's why we are swamped. And so my point of view, guerrilla skepticism is saying, look, we need to fight fire with fire. Okay? Now, people say, well, two wrongs don't make a right. Do you think John Edward and Sylvia Browne care a bit about being tolerant? They don't care. So why should we? So what I try and do is get out in the street, get in people's faces, and cause a commotion. And if people don't like it, that's fine. They can say, oh, this is a brand of skepticism which I don't agree with. That's fine. There's room for everything on the spectrum. You can write, you can sing, you can dance, you can get out and do things, okay? So for me, I did a television show, a pilot called The Skeptologists, and like Brian and Baxter, we try to sell this thing, we try and sell science. I think you have to be, to get in the media, you have to be confronted. You have to confront things, and if you have to say some upsetting things that might upset some people, that's how I get heard. That's how I think you can get heard. Yes?
But isn't causing the commotion just a means to an end? Ultimately, you have a larger goal than simply causing the commotion.
Yeah, well, no, I think drawing attention to issues is the critical thing here. It's not, in other words, many times people say I'm an exploiter, I'm self-aggrandizing myself. So there is a lot of negativity that comes my way. And I was, for my skeptical, I won't go into it, but for my skeptical work, I'm now banned in the UK from lecturing. I had tours in Scotland and England. They were canceled because of a television show I did that was called Secrets of the Psychics. And what I did is I gave away, and I didn't even mean to give it away. It was I made no agreement with the producer of the show, which is, in Hollywood there's a line that says, verbal agreements aren't worth the paper they're written on. And in this case, that's exactly what it was. I made an agreement to show something, and because of my past work with Penn and Teller and other television things that I did, I said, I really don't, because magicians, they really they don't like that, okay? I made an agreement with the producer. I said, I will show this effect, which was, they asked me to do a prediction of the future, but it had to be done in 10 minutes. So I used a mentalism technique to show that. And I said to the producer, I will show you how I do it, but you're going to have to use another set of hands and we'll do a voiceover because really I don't want to get in trouble with magicians. Well, they didn't listen to me. And they went ahead and showed my hands with a big bubble of light showing me doing the move, and I was watching it, and as soon as I saw it on TV, the phone started ringing. Next thing I knew, I'm banned in the UK. He's an exposer. He's blah, blah, blah. So basically it ruined my magic career. But that doesn't matter because I don't have a belief in magic. I have a belief in using my skills to do something bigger than fool people. Okay, I mean, you can do a card trick, you can do mentalism, you can convince the audience that you have supernatural powers, but that's not helping anybody. So my goal is to get out on the street, get on the radio, get on television, and I like what you're talking about. We need somebody who can get on the television and rant. Here I am. This has been my goal for a long time because I'm full of anger. I've seen with my own eyes for 10 years this supernatural thing build. And I've always been a fan of supernatural things. I love Twilight Zone. I loved Outer Limits. I grew up with all that. So, of course, I was steeped in a form of woo, okay? But it was never saying, I mean, I knew that Outer Limits and Twilight Zone, they were written by great writers. That's all. They weren't based on any great cosmic truth. So I've always loved that, but what's happened is that has taken hold, and we've had eras and eras of television shows like, how many people remember The Invaders? Okay, here's a television show from the 60s, excellent writers, excellent direction, cast, everything, about aliens that come down and they have a hand and their one finger. That's how you can, the only way you can tell that they're duplicates is their finger, you know, is stiff like this. Okay, so now it's been, generations have passed, so you have to believe that parents who saw that and told their kids about that show, etc., it's like telephone. So now we have people believe in alien abductions and that aliens are here. It's no surprise to me. So I'm off the track.